Well, y'all remember where we were before, so I guess let's just keep on going. Hello and welcome back to some more Rune Factory 2 Watering Can Only Run. Well, okay then. In this episode, we are going to once again be grinding pharmacy levels. We're just at the start of level 46. We made it quite a few levels last episode, so I see no reason why we shouldn't be able to make it, I would say even more, but that's going to be a lie. Almost as many levels this time as well. Right, this is the part of the episode where I have to talk! I don't know what to talk about. Of course. What's been going on? I don't know. I've been watching some Total Drama Island and stuff. I saw the, not the new season, but, like, I saw the season 1 of the reboot. That was nice. I like Scary Girl. She's my favorite. Something about that chaotic energy I just really vibe with, you know? Probably not, because I don't tend to express those tendencies of vibing with the crazy characters, but I like her. She's nice. She's fun. She's fun. Not necessarily so much nice. And today is potentially just going to be a big old recording day, just as Shirley wants me to play more Minecraft with her, and it's good that she's getting into the mod pack, but I just want to record a whole bunch of stuff today. Chandra bought me Lethal Company, and I don't know, I could play it solo. I'll probably just wind up playing that solo. It's a roguelike game. I think it's roguelike, not roguelite. So the overall, what I can get out of it is kind of curious to think about, really. Yeah, I've seen some people play it. It seems interesting. Seems like it'll be more fun with people, but it's like a $13 game, so it's hard to convince people, hey, just buy this game so we can play it together. Also, on another note, I kind of want to get more groceries. I'm out of stuff like milk. I'm not out of food, I'm just out of certain foods. I think that I feel like I should make that very clear whenever I say that I need or want groceries. I'm not out of food. Already had talk about getting the games and signatures and whatnot shipped over from Vancouver. Gosh, $29 to ship things. One province. That feels like so much. But I mean, to be fair, it's not like on an envelope, right? I'd imagine it would cost relatively more to ship things back in the day before they had, like, planes, trains, and automobiles. Right? I don't know. Oh. I was just about to say, it'd be really cool if there was, like, a Rune Factory roguelike game. And then I realized, yeah, there are several. I don't like them. There's also one game that I have on my Steam, like, library that I thought I had already played through, but I don't actually have any videos of it up on the channel, so I guess I've never actually done a Let's Play of Momodoya. When I thought that I had, like, a while ago. Like, quite a while ago. But apparently, no. yeah, I don't know what else there is to talk about. But hey, I still gotta record more Rune Factory. Like always, I need to just find some game I could just record like 20 episodes of and just be like good and solid on that. We want to do that with Frosthaven. Just start, you know, just start up a nice Frosthaven campaign and just play like a ton of that. Although I am sorely tempted to continue playing Frosthaven from where I left off. And like that could be fun and all. The big issue there is getting back into the groove. Another big issue would be in getting the writing that I worked on, which I think I gave a copy to my brother, because the computer that I used to write it all on won't work anymore. It's weird. Technology's weird. Technology doesn't like me. Blah, blah, blah. So, but I think I copied it and gave it to my brother because he's been getting into reading, and I figured, hey, why don't you read this, see what you think about it, whatever. Woohoo! One level of pharmacy. All it took was a little over 7 minutes. Alright, and then, drink it. You imagine doing this, but instead of using, instead of using healing potions, just using levelizers? Alright. What is there to work on? I really don't even know. Boom. Yeah, I don't even know what I'm going to record. The next weekly video that I need to upload. Oh gosh. Yeah. The next video I need to upload for other than my semi-dailies, I guess, would be that I need to get gosh, what are videos? Alright. But I watched an entire season of Total Jump Island last night, so that just keeps jumping back to memory. I watched the entire season, except like the last 5 minutes, like the last like 2 minutes of it, basically. Somehow I fell asleep like literally right at the end of the last episode, just before the finale, like just before like someone actually wins the final. My brain is like, yep, that's enough. I don't know, I find that funny. Whatever. I woke up, watched the ending of the last episode went, yeah, I knew that that person was already going to win going into it because people can't keep their spoilers to themselves. Although TDI used to do this thing where they'd have, like, alternate endings where they would change up who wins based on, like, where it aired. And I believe that this version that's actually out is just the Italian version. I don't think it's actually made it, like, to Canadian TV yet. So who knows, maybe when it starts airing in Canada, the other person will win the finale instead. Because, as mentioned, that's what they like to do. Oh gosh, this stew sells for a decent portion of money. Thanks, not my granddad. For the free money stew. Yeah, sure, let's buy some more things. I was just thinking, it's like, huh, if only there was some sort of, like, Danganronpa, like, game, because the whole thing of, like, Toll Drama is rather similar to Danganronpa, in that you start off with, like, a group of people, and then that group slowly goes down by one every so often at seemingly random intervals. Well, you know, each chapter, it goes down. Except in some like Total Drama, it goes down usually by one per episode, whereas in Danganronpa, it usually goes down by two per episode. The person who's killed and the person who's voted off. Yeah, Total Drama Island is just Danganronpa for people who aren't bold enough to murder. For people who aren't bold enough to start killing each other. But they still vote someone off. Or at least... Oh, right. Yeah. I see what's going on there. Okay. It doesn't want to put the round off that I make in this inventory slot. Honestly, I just kind of want to take the hammer and the axe and just plop them in storage until all of this is done, because I won't need them until afterwards. The potion bottles I still need. Okay. So let's see. What is there to do? Inscription. Yeah, inscription with Azura is basically done unless we want to do Casey's mod, which I'm sure I can convince her to just go through some Casey's mod together. Apparently Casey's mod has been updated, so maybe I'll just do some Casey's mod on my own. I don't know, whatever. Cuisine, yeah, I can do that. Dottage, I finally finished editing. Danganronpa, still close to the end, and then we need to just have some time together to just start recording, I want to say season 2. No. Danganronpa 3. which is the last mainline Danganronpa game, but then there's still, I think 2 other Danganronpa titled games at least. Is that cool? Yeah, I've been trying to join, like, Total Drama Island, like, Discord servers to, you know, go play out some Total Drama Island, whatever, fun stuff. Except it's remarkably hard to find a good server for it, even though there's, like, a dozen on the Discord. Because, like, I want one where I can use OCs. A lot of them, like, nope, only canon characters, period. I want one that, like, where I have the character doing the challenge. It's not, yeah, just sign up here to do the challenge. You have to do it yourself, personally. It's like, all the ones I've joined, it's like, I try to look around to see, it's like, okay, what are some challenges that other people have done before, so I can see how those are done. Nope, nothing. Nope, top secret. Nope, not allowed to see it. Nope. So as far as I'm concerned, you go in for the challenge, it's like, here, solve this cryptogram. Whoever does it first wins immunity. And it's like... ugh. I mean, you've seen me on the Sudoku, which, honestly, I should try doing again. I know I have a few episodes of me trying that one Sudoku, but if I were to do it again, I'd have to start all over. I feel like that wouldn't be too bad, strictly speaking. I could start over. That'd be fine. If I do it again, that is. Oh yeah, and I found like 2 servers where it looks like, yep, you can use OCs, yep, you like roleplay out the stuff. It's like you know, you do it in character. You do the challenges in character, not out of character. It's like, cool. Oh, but it's for minors only. So it's like, oh, well, no then. One of them didn't even specifically say minors only on the Discord. It was like rule like 4 or 5. Like, oh, by the way, if you're over the age of 18 and you join, you're not allowed in, but if you're like below the age of 18, then you have a birthday, we won't kick you out. And it's like, when you say like no 18 plus content in the Discord, that makes me think like no like 18 plus content as opposed to no people who are 18 or over. I don't know what it is with Discords, but it's so often that I like go into a new like Discord group, whatever, and there's like 100 little like channels. And, like, after being in there for a few days, maybe 3 channels get a message in them. It's like, do you really need 100 channels where 90 of them don't get used? It's like, alright, the voice chat. But there's, like, 1 voice channel. It's like, okay, fine. A text channel for the voice chat, even though the voice channel has its own inbuilt text chat, but nobody knows that, so they make a text chat for it. Alright, fine. And then, like, a voice meme chat where you can post memes relating to the voice chat. And then, voice chat for talking to... a text chat for the voice chat for talking to people who are in the voice chat while you're unable to speak in the voice chat, which is, you know, what its own inbuilt. It's like 3 text chats for the 1 voice chat. It's like, you don't need this. As evidenced by the last time someone used that was in March. It's like, yeah, sure, some, you know, some channels in Discord servers will definitely get used more than others. But also, like, sometimes I go in and it's like 20 different channels just for using 20 different bots. Like, oh yeah, Pokemon text chat. You go in there and every, I don't know, hour or so, a random Pokemon image will appear and you have to be the first one to type its name, then you, quote-unquote, catch the Pokemon, and as you message in Discord servers that have this bot, your Pokemon will arbitrarily level up. And why? But okay, yeah, that's it. So it levels up. Okay. I don't know, maybe I'm too old to use Discord or something. I don't know. Maybe it's getting to be much more of a boomer thing. It's like, I still remember, like, making little Discord servers for, like, D&D games, whatever. It's like, okay, so you have the main general chat. Cool. Voice chat for when you're in game. Cool. You have one chat that's just like, you know, images and bios of the characters. Cool. One channel that's like in-character communication between sessions. Usually people don't use it, but sometimes people want it anyway. Sure, whatever. Seems a bit much for, you know, stuff that could be role-played in character, but you know what? Some people like it. No big deal. And then sometimes you have, like, one chat that's just for talking about things that the players think is going to happen in games, where you could just use the general chat for that. What's have happened? I grabbed a bottle. Oh, I don't get a round off in a bottle? Oh, right. Oops. Oh, whatever. Anyway. What else is there to discuss? I don't know. Whatever, yeah. So it's like, I tried to join Discord servers to meet, you know, new people, to try new things. Like, yeah, I think it'd be neat to just write basically Toll Drama Island fan fiction. Well, neat. It'd be fun. I think it'd be fun. Well, I have a bunch of characters. I mean, heck, I have enough characters I could probably just do a whole Toll Drama Island, fan fiction on my own. Honestly, I could. Should I? Who knows, maybe. Really haven't been, like, writing so much in a while. It's really awkward to try to write when you have no one to, like, write for. Who knows, maybe at some point today I'll just write, what, episode 1? Sorry, just thinking, interesting cast of characters here. Oh, yeah. Because what, 16 characters is a nice round number. 8 characters for each team to start off, and then, I don't know, maybe either copy the events from the show itself to make it, you know, more of a low-grade fanfiction, or use, like, ChatGPT or something to try to emulate, different game challenges. Yeah, people complain a lot about AI art being like a scam and a rip, and stealing art from artists without giving due credit, and just being generally bad. People don't really give the same amount of hate to just ChatGPT. People do give it hate because people are using it to like write books and stuff and not proofreading, and it's like, write a book about taking care of tarantulas. And the book will says like, make sure to drown your tarantulas. And people would be like, yeah, that's good enough, let's publish it. Let's sell this. And it's like, that's not how you do it. But they don't care because they're gonna get some easy money. It's like, you know, make a text script of this YouTube video. Cool. Now let's publish this as a book. And it's like, I'm sure that there has to be some way of like being able to accurately just automatically detect if something was primarily made with like ChatGPT, and if it was, you shouldn't be allowed to make money off of it. Like, it's one thing that's like, okay, come up with a premise for a fantasy story. Okay, now I'm going to go and write it, as opposed to write me a fantasy story. I mean, that's kind of the thing with the ChatGPT, right? The prompt. Like, yeah, like again. Stuff went kind of bad for a second there. Okay, the whole, like, write me a fantasy story. It's like, well, okay, if you just write me a fantasy story in there and it writes something for you, sure, that's, you know, enough work was done by the computer to make it not the human's work. But what if someone has characters? Like, write me a fantasy story about, you know, Albert the legendary swordsman, Delicia the green mage, and Stuart the rat. And it writes a story just using those three characters. Maybe more, maybe not, whatever. Would that be that the person did enough work? I would say no. And then it's like, okay, well, you know, what if they write in, like, the setting? It's like, okay, well, they start off, you know, in a shack by the side of a busy city road, and they decide to go on adventures and eventually live in a big magical castle. Not so much setting, that's the most basic of the plot possible. But it's like, okay, would that be, like, how much would the person have to prompt in to be considered, okay, it's their story, but chat, like, finish it? It's like, I think that the person would actually have to write the story itself, not just give the premise for the story. If they only give enough to put on, like, the back cover of the book, that's not enough for them to have written the book. And then it's like, okay, what about the opposite? What if someone just writes in, it's like, okay, give me, you know, plot, characters, setting for a fantasy story, and they get, essentially, the back cover of a book, and they write it themselves. I feel like, now, here's where it starts to get a bit technical, and of course, I'm not a copyright lawyer or anything. I feel like if what is given to the person is, you know, not already a story, it's not just the plot of The Unmagician or whatever, if it's actually, you know, something unique, then they make a story about it, and then it's like, sure, they wrote that story. But it feels like, yeah, writing is coming up with ideas and getting them down. And I'm really good at coming up with random ideas, but some people aren't. And it's like, oh shoot, I need character names. And I mean, I'm guilty of this too, right? You need names for a character. You look up on, like, you know, random, it's like, give me random names that could be used for a fantasy mage. You know, a name generator thing. Those have existed online for decades. At least a decade. Back when I was starting to write and make characters and stuff, I used a program that gave, like, the meanings of different names. That's how I found my name, actually. Clear and Bright. And I just, like, looked through, it's like, okay, find me a name that means, like, warrior, and it's... I'm going to get this wrong. Joseph or Muhammad, at least one of them, I think, means warrior. But it's like, okay, give me a name that means, like, noble, you know, noble and wise. And it's like, okay, well, that would be, like, you know, the ruler of the country, the queen or the king. It's like... I think at least half of my characters, I use something like that for the names, so the names actually, like, mean something. Like, Seth means traitor. Even though in, like, the final revision of the script, I don't think Seth actually betrays anyone, but that was supposed to be his original point. Was that he was, like, going to betray them? So it's like, okay, well, did I, you know, not write my stories because I looked up names to use for the characters? So, like, you know, did I not write my stories because, like, oh, the idea of there being a portal in the woods that leads to, like, a different world. It's like, oh, that's an idea that's... It's like, a whole bunch of writing is, in a way, copying stuff that you have seen before. Like, there are, yeah, the old quote, there are no new ideas. There are no new ideas, there are just new ways to express old ideas. It's like, if I were to, you know, rewrite some Shakespearean play, put, like, a nice twist on it and stuff, could I say that it's my own? And if I can't, then why does Disney have... Why does Disney have trademark over the plot of The Lion King? When apparently that's just Hamlet. Right? And it's like, okay, well... Yeah. If someone just goes like, okay, I'm going to write, you know, the plot of King Lear or something. I'm going to write the plot of King Lear, but I'm going to do it in, like, this style. And then they, you know, write out the whole book. Did they write it, or was that just, you know, plagiarized? Like, would it be morally sound for them to then sell that book, even though, yeah, the setting is different, but the plot is essentially the same? But what about someone who had, say, never read King Lear, never heard about King Lear, and they went on to an AI thing? It's like, make me a plot. It's like, give me a plot for a story. And it just, you know, spits out, like, the plot of King Lear. And then the person goes like, oh, that looks like a nice, unique idea, and then they write it. From what I remember of King Lear, and I'm not even 100% certain if this is King Lear's story, the king is, like, superstitious and believes that something bad will happen to him, so he goes to visit some witches who are all like, oh yes, here's some prophecies. about like things that are going to happen. But if you try to make them not happen, then really bad things will happen. And the king's like, screw prophecy, and decides to try to subvert it, only for the prophecies themselves to actually happen and kill him. And it was something like, I only remember 2 of them. I think one of them was like he'll be undone by his own son or something. I don't quite remember. One of them was that the forest was going to invade. And he's like, how is a forest going to invade? That's stupid. And then it turned out that an invading army took like branches and leaves and stuff and basically covered their frontline soldiers with tree material to try to obscure their numbers, so it'd be hard to tell exactly how many were coming. But from a distance, it looked like the forest was invading. Another one was that, was it no man born of woman will kill King Lear? And then was killed by, I think it was killed by either his son or his nephew, who was born via C-section and was not therefore born of woman. But I mean, like, hey, it's an interesting premise for a story. Person gets, you know, prophecies that they believe couldn't possibly be true, laughs them off, and then goes, oh, that's true. And so I'm trying to remember, and people, I think people had said, it's like, oh no, that's like Macbeth that dies that way, but I thought Macbeth started with, like, a prince killing his uncle. I read, like, most of Macbeth in, like, one night, because I needed to, like, write about it or something for, like, the next day. And I read everything except, like, the last act. And I was like, nope, too tired, going to sleep. So I missed the part where, like, everybody dies, but I also kind of don't really remember the details, even though I did read practically all of it, and I'm just like, no. Family still won't get over the part. Won't get over the time when we were out at, like, something of an antique shop years ago, and I found a copy of the complete works of William Shakespeare, and I bought it for like $6. I like that book. I still have that book. It's a nice book. The spine of it kind of almost fell off, so it's not in great shape. Whoops, but it's been a nice book. But yeah, but I mean, Total Drama Island is just, hey, what if we do Survivor, but we make it like a cartoon? So you can have the challenges be, like, deadly, but not have to worry, because no one will necessarily actually ever die. Actually, I didn't just watch one season of Total Drama last night. I technically watched 2 different seasons. So I also watched the one where they actually have to survive on the not quite deserted, but semi-deserted island, where they have to, like, rummage for their own food and stuff. Which, you know, adds a nice take to the whole trying to survive nonsense. Sorry, just trying to think of how the total drama, whatever stuff would work in story form, because they very often have like cuts to being in the confessional and stuff. It's like, okay, well, how do I make it evident that I'm trying to cut to the confessional part of it mid-story? But there, honestly, I don't think that's going to be difficult. Yeah, I'm fine there. Yeah, so very often, a book is just a book. You know, words on paper, whatever. And there's nothing cool to it. No showbiz, no glamour. Series of Unfortunate Events, Book 6, though, had a moment of glamour where literally 2 solid pages were just completely inked out, and it's like, yeah, I had no way of describing to you what was going to happen in words right there, so I just immediately made the next 2 pages blank. But instead of, as one would assume, like, you know, it cutting off halfway through the page, and then so you are like, what? Did the chapter end? And then you turn the next page and it's blank? Like, no. Last page ends at the end of the page. And it's like, oh yeah, and then they jump down the elevator shaft. Turn the page expecting, you know, words, and it's just, no, nothing. And it's like, what? And he turned the page again, it's like, yeah, I kind of had to do that. And I'm really glad that a series of unfortunate events did not spin off, like, a whole new line of, like... Is that children or young adult? Like, whatever. Young adult fiction where the author tries to break the fourth wall constantly to talk about their struggles with, like, writing the stories and stuff. Because I feel like trying to do that whole fourth wall breakery shenanigans stuff in that same vein would be really difficult to pull off in any form of, like, good. In any way that actually looks or sounds good. But they managed to do it there somehow. And it's like, okay, cool, that's perfect. Nobody else do this because perfection has already been reached. And it's like, yeah, heckin' knows I'm not doing that. Yeah, woke up to like a dozen Discord messages. I'm like, oh no, something bad happened. It's mostly Azura just sending me messages knowing that I was asleep, nothing urgent. And one of the servers I joined, by default, has notifications on every message. Why? I don't know. So I got a whole bunch of messages of someone being all like, oh yeah, you should come join my server. I was all like, why is this random person telling me to join their server? And speaking of joining random Discord servers with the express purpose of trying to do some sort of game with people, I joined, I think, 4 different servers trying to look for a nice D&D game. I found 2, technically. Yeah, I found one and joined in on it, because I thought it was just going to be a random one-shot. It's like, oh yeah, it's like Wednesday morning. Yeah, I can do that once, and it's like, hey, come back, like, next Wednesday morning, and we'll do, like, episode 2. And I'm like, oh, I don't want that. How do I express that I'm not in favor of this without being mean? Oh, here's something potentially interesting for, you know, Survivor-like or Total Drama-like story. Instead of using, like, characters that you've already made and have an attachment to, use some sort of, like, random character creator. Again, I'm partial to made RPG, but that's probably just me. I like the random made character creator thing. It's really nice and fun. I mean, I could end this whole potion thing now. But I'm only level 51, so I don't think that's enough. So I feel like... not necessarily another full inventory's worth of stuff. No, I do need the blue. Just a few more of these. Potions I'm going to keep needing until I actually get my levelizers starting to be made. And I can just start switching to using those instead. Yeah. Make random characters, because that's basically what it is in the show anyway. And just use the random characters for all of the bits and just, you know, start getting attachment to a character who is, at its core, randomly generated. So you don't have to, so you don't necessarily show favoritism. It's like, oh yeah, this is my OC, she's a Mary Sue, which, in and of itself, is a bit of a problematic term when it comes to characters, because I feel like pretty much any character could have the potential of being a Mary Sue, and making a character who, you know, isn't just generically good at stuff. It's like, okay, well, like some character, like having a character that's only good at one thing and bad at everything else is unrealistic. Because generally, people are good at a field of things. Not, strictly speaking, the best in the world at everything. But I mean, like, people are generally good at, what, 5 or 6 different things at least? I'm sure if you take a pool of, like... Yeah, I'm sure if you take a pool of, like, 100 people and put them through a random series of tests or challenges, whatever... Yeah, if you put 100 people in a pool, quote-unquote, quote, whatever, take 100 people and put them through 100 different tests, there's not going to be a separate winner for each test. Like, some people are going to win more than once. course, the trick is to have a character that, yeah, sure, probably win more than once, but they won't necessarily win every single one of those. But it's like the sort of tests that are done like Total Drama are generally very physical tests. So if you have a character who's, you know, fast and strong, they can probably win quite a few of the tests. Heck, if a character is just, like, decently fast, like, not necessarily like the Flash, although Flash could work for that. If you have a character who's, like, decently fast and, like, agile, they could probably win most Total Drama tests. Challenges, whatever. If you have a character who's fast, strong, and fearless, or doesn't have a squick meter, whatever, then that's pretty much all of the Total Drama challenges. Okay. Can't believe I'm just talking about Total Drama so much, but it's like, okay, what's the first one? 1,000-foot freefall. Again, yeah, if they're fearless, boom, they jump in. If they're, you know, fast, they can swim to shore if they miss the jump, or, you know, get on the boat to get to shore. Sure. And of course, challenge 2, run around the... Yeah, wake up early, run around the lake. If they're fast, they should be able to, you know, do well at that. It's kind of interesting, because, like, the faster that you complete it, the more tired you should be, but also the faster you complete it. Like, if the character, you know, completes the race and then immediately takes, like, a nap while waiting for everyone else to finish, if they're fast enough to finish, say, an hour faster than everyone else, it's a 20k run, so how long? Yeah, how long would it take someone to walk a 20k? I mean, I walk at what? 3k an hour, so I walk slowly. I just as a general thing. So, whatever. If we say 5k an hour, take about 4 hours to do it. Or if someone were to jog probably double that speed, they could totally have like a 2-hour nap while waiting for everyone else to finish, which would be good. And then, of course, eating. Then, of course, everyone eats, blah, blah, blah. And then, okay, stay up for an arbitrary length of time, because, frankly, if you ever watch Total Drama Island, the amount of time that they stay up for is incredibly arbitrary, because it says that 12 hours in, it's still day 24 hours after starting, when they started in the daytime, but 24 hours later is the middle of the night, and some people fall asleep like 12 hours in and are still asleep at the 50-hour mark and have never woken up, and literally have apparently slept for at least, what, 38 hours. So yeah, I think that Marissa would be very good at, just happen to be very good at, like, the Total Drama events. 1,000-foot jump off a cliff? Nah, that sounds like fun. The whole staying awake for an excessive amount of time? So what you do is you climb up a tree, and you hang yourself off of a branch by your legs. Technically, I suppose you could also just hang off by your hands or arms. What you want is some way of suspending yourself from the tree in such a way that as long as you're awake, it doesn't take much effort to continue hanging there. I mean, so I guess just like lying down on the branch and just keeping the balance, whatever. But if you do start to fall asleep and nod off, then you'll let go, fall to the ground, and the fall will wake you up. And then, of course, the difficult part is maintaining that position for about 50 hours, and also having the sheer willpower to actually climb back up onto the tree branch after you inevitably pass out and fall out of the tree and get woken back up again. And trying to explain to the judges that yes, I did fall out of the tree because I was falling asleep, but I did not actually fall asleep. I was falling asleep. And then I woke up because I fell out of a tree. I'm trying to remember what the other challenges were, and I don't quite remember. But I mean, it's like, yeah, some characters are really good at those specific things. Yeah, Marissa's just fun. I want more opportunities to write as Marissa. She had a really, really big part in the Frosthaven story, actually. Now that I'm really thinking about it. So, I mean, a few chapters are up if people want to read them. I'm waiting for people to tell me that they want more before I upload more, but maybe I should just upload more. I don't know. The issue with uploading to, like, Wattpad is that it doesn't, like, none of the formatting transfers over, so I have to go through and, like, reformat it. It only takes, like, a few minutes, but it's still annoying to do. So, Marissa is part of the original group of 4, so she is, strictly speaking, one of the starter classes, which, at least in Gloomhaven, the starter classes are weaker than the upgrade class, like, the classes that you unlock. In some cases, it seems to be the case that unlocked classes are strictly better than certain versions of the base classes. In Frosthaven, it sure seems like that the unlocked classes are just better than the base classes still, so stupid force of habit. So that being the case, Marissa is not as good as some of the other classes that she'll have to work with, and yet she still lasted quite a lot of chapters. Anyway, yeah. Spoilers for the story, and also spoilers for Frosthaven, but, like, whatever. Her whole thing is throwing shadows around, and then either being able to use those shadows to boost her own attacks or mobility, or to use those shadows to attack people. Okay, sure, whatever. She starts off with her 2 brothers, but their sister is unavailable, just not there for whatever reason. And so they decide to grab, you know, someone random to use as the 4th because their sister is just not there, and they really want a 4th to round out the party. So, sure, they grab Flora, who one of her brothers has a crush on, and that's why, that's why her brother wants to bring this new girl, because he has a crush on her, and Marissa's all like, but what about, we should wait for our sister, and they're all like, she'll be fine. Regardless, they go on some adventures together, start to click, they get a house in town, an old, small-ish warehouse that they saved out of from after a siege. It's, like, slightly on, like, the outside of town, but still close enough to the inside that it's fine. It's like, yeah. It's on, like, more or less the outskirts of town. Whatever. As they go on adventures, different members of the party decide that they want to just retire and settle down in town. One of her brothers essentially becomes, like, the mayor of the town, using his silver tongue and quick wits to convince people to, you know, help themselves more. And it's like, alright, sure, that's fine, no big deal. That all works out. Flora was actually the first one to leave. She became, like, a gardener full time. One of her brothers became the mayor. Another one started dabbling in magic use for some spirits that they were able to rescue, which opened up a portal. Yeah, and it basically, once somebody leaves the party, someone else comes in, because that's how it works in Gloomhaven/Frosthaven. Someone leaves the party, and then their player picks up a new character to play instead. Simple and obvious enough. And so, yeah. Marissa, however, seems to have the unique talent of being able to communicate with creatures who do not speak English, the common language, including basically a yeti and a giant crab. I said there'd be spoilers. And, you know, had a lot of fun with these two companions, and then some local hunter townsgirl decides to join in on them with a bow. A local hunter townsgirl with a bow decides to join in on the party, befriends the rest of the group, and then Marissa's like, okay, fine, the others like you, and we're down one person. And I still guess I believe what my brother said, that we really need a fourth, but I'm still also waiting for my sister, so if she comes in, I am ready to kick you out of here. But the girl proves herself actually well enough. Until... I say until... But unfortunately, the Yeti winds up leaving, getting replaced with a really strange... Yeah, a person who actually comes from the same world that Marissa and her brothers had come from, but they didn't know each other. However, hey, this is kind of a connection back home. If we can, you know, open up this bridge, we could get home, and that's where my sister should. It's like, that's where my sister should be. Or my sister, right? Because brothers, whatever. And it's like, okay, sure, we'll help you on your quest here to open up way back home, and then we can go there with you as well. And the mission leads them to the top of a tower where a beam of pure, like, magic radiation, basically, is spewing forth. The crab and, like, the shadow magician, basically, they just warp through the magical radiation field to start fighting against the boss, leaving Marissa and the hunter girl, the archer girl, it's Yumi, to deal with everything else going on. But so many minions start like climbing up the sides of the tower that the two of them are forced into the magical radiation field to try to fend them off. They survive, but Marissa can no longer use her shadows anymore. Marissa can no longer use her shadows, but now Yumi has fire magic. So, Marissa can't go out adventuring anymore. And now the original party, all members of the original party have now gone. But the name of the party still resonates through the townspeople anyway. Also, it took me this long to realize, but if you look at the image of, like, the colored grasses, just to the right of the stem and above and to the left of the right leaf, it's like a little person is in there. And now you will never unsee it. There's a person in the leaf. Alright, Alright. So Yumi gets fire magic and continues with the crab and the shadow mage. I want to say shadow mage. No, ghost mage. Spirit mage. Spirit mage works. But instead of recruiting a fourth person, because nobody steps forward, Yumi herself pulls the role of two people, continuing to use her bow and her fire magic Uh, However, basically everyone who knows about magic keeps saying, hey, this is a terrible idea. Don't keep using your magic so excessively. Don't keep, burning yourself so badly. It's like, yeah, sure, she essentially took Marissa's magic for herself. However, since she wasn't born with the magic and didn't, develop it herself over time, she doesn't have an unlimited supply of magic. It is limited. It could last for years and years if she uses it sparingly. Unfortunately, she keeps getting into fights and troubles and keeps, getting into danger, into situations where she has to keep using her magic. And then, well, in an effort to save the other members of her party, she looks down the barrel of a cannon and fires a flaming arrow into it to try to set off the gunpowder and also plug the barrel and set off the gunpowder at the same time to explode the cannon. It works, but some shrapnel, jumps out of the cannon, is shot out of the cannon, it's shot from the explosion of the cannon exploding, and completely destroys 2 of her fingers, so now she can't use her bow anymore. So now she's just the fire mage of the party, despite not having properly learned how to use fire magic. And then, people are saying, it's like, oh yeah, it's like, and then as people are saying, one adventure later, I think it was, she winds up losing her fire magic. So now, not only does Marissa not have her brothers to adventure with anymore, let's try to do this over, not have her sister to be around anymore, and not have her brothers to adventure with anymore, and not have her magic to be able to adventure for herself anymore, and also not even have a role in the town to just live in and still do stuff anymore. Now the magic that was originally hers is now just gone, because this hunter peasant girl used all of her magic up in pursuit of fire instead of the safety of shadows. I'm also playing Marissa in D&D campaign. I gave her so many protections and stuff. It's been fun. Oh, hey. I was gonna do a few more plans, but I mean, if we got... Shoot, what did we start at? 51 or 49? We're 46.
You calm down. Oh, wait. Hold on. I was just like, oh, gee, I hope this is enough to have a chance of making the levelizer properly, and I realized I can check for that. Alright. Oh, it's only 63. Yeah, we could potentially succeed on levelizer now, so I guess next episode is going to be just a normal old episode, and I just wanted to do a total Drama Island type thing where I get to play as Marissa, because Marissa is, fun and all, and she, acts kind of like a wild... I said calm down. A wild animal that learned to be human. She's got the brain power to be so much more than just human. But anyway,